Hey, what's up? Thank you for joining us for the startup Q&A. The question we got today was, my fundraising efforts failed. What do I do now? So one thing that is kind of demoralizing, it's one of those just terrible things is fundraising. It's trying to find people who believe in your company strong enough to write you a check amidst all the other companies that they're meeting with. In reality, it happens a lot more than you think. I see even successful companies say that they had to raise or talk to 300 investors or 400 investors and get told no a ton of times only to get 30 investors to invest in your company. And I've experienced it. With KnowCap, we have a really interesting model, we have a really cool idea, but at the end of the day, like without validation, it gets harder. And so at the end of the day, one thing that was told to me a long time ago that I really love is just because an investor says no has absolutely, honestly, nothing to do with your company or whether someone else will invest in your company later. What it really says is their vision of the future is not the same as yours. And that's it. That is it. So if you find that your first fundraising effort failed, reach out to the people who passed and ask them what would make a better profile for you to invest in. Doesn't mean that they'll invest. It just gives you a little bit more insight into what they're looking for so that you can go back to the drawing board and figure out if your growth potential or if your revenue potential or if your customer base will allow for you to hit the numbers that they want. And if not, then maybe it's a common theme that you see without all the investors. And if it is, then you might have to go back and look at some things. Because it might be that you're working on an idea because you're not passionate about it and they saw that. Or it might be that you're working on an idea because you heard or saw a request for startups from Y Combinator. And so you thought if you created a company around that, you could get all the accolades, and they saw through that smoke screen. And so that would be my biggest encouragement, is just to keep trying at it. You can always fundraise. One thing that we've committed to is just continually fundraising. If someone wants in, we just make a piece for them or we make a slot for them. And so eventually we might go to the rounds in traditional fundraising, but in actuality, the way that we're operating, we don't really need the funding. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted the funding to help support our roles, to help support our founders, to help support our team. But at the end of the day, if no one sees value in that, then that's okay. And so that would be my encouragement, is to find out if where you are in the stage of your company is actually what investors will invest in. Because it might be that you need a couple more customers or you need a little bit more revenue.